And welcome back to the channel. We're on our about to do our last leg here of the Fennel Creek Trail. We're finishing up Fennel Creek Trail here. We're about done with that and we're heading on home.
Been a nice ride, huh, Mark?
Yeah, this will be part 3, and thank you once again, David, for coming along.
Thank you.
Good to have you back on the channel.
It's nice to be back.
There's a good look at the Aventon Aventure. That's a tongue twister every time I say it.
Yeah. But yeah, this bike is real. It's especially the step through is real. I think it's a really good bike for a female, even a person with limited mobility. The step through is a really good option. I was thinking about a step through, and it's not anything like it's a girl's bike as opposed to a boy's bike. It's nothing like that. It's either a step over or a step through, and so it's basically the same bike. With the step through, you just got a little bit more mobility.
Do you remember the weight of your bike? I can't remember what.
This bike is 72 pounds.
Oh, that's lightweight.
And so if you take the battery out, you're right at about 10 pounds with the battery. So once you take the battery out, it makes it a breeze to mount on my bike rack.
When you started out today, did you come with a fully charged battery?
I did come with a fully charged battery, Mark. I don't know where I'm at right now. Let's see, where am I here? Pum, 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 pum. I am 64%.
Well, that's not bad.
But I mean, I've been doing a lot of throttling and that. So, I mean, knowing the distance we covered, I know I'm gonna have plenty of battery life, so I'm not trying to conserve it or anything. So if I was being more conservative, I'm probably could be up into 70, 75 or something like that. But because I know we're not that far from home.
Have you ever done a ride where you got a little nervous that you were using up a lot of your battery and you were getting close, or were you pretty much keep your eye on that? And
well, it's all going to depend on the rider and that. I know when we did the Banks to Vernonia trail, which the total trail is about 26 miles, and we did about half of it, so that's 13 up and 13 back. So because I use more throttle than, let's say, my wife and daughter, because they're just pedaling all the time and that. So I think once we got done with that trail ride, which was about 26 miles, I was down to, what was it? I think I was down to maybe something like, was it 24? I want to almost, was I down to about 13%? I may have been down to maybe 13 or so percent. So, but still, I knew I had plenty of.
Right. So yeah. You think 30 miles is probably, or a bit more maybe, or
I think so, and it's going to depend on if you're riding more on a flat surface, if you're not doing a lot of hill climbing, and it's going to depend on the rider.
And were you carrying any extra weight besides yourself?
I did not carry any extra weight, but even if I don't think I would carry anything that would be more than the weight of probably an extra battery. Right. You know, water, maybe a bag with sandwiches in it, something to drink or something like that.
That'd be lightweight.
Yeah, so I don't think, for me, I don't think that's gonna make a difference. But if I was really going a long ways, Mark, I would probably just be checking my battery life and that, and I just do more pedaling. Right. I do more pedaling, less throttling. I just kind of limit my throttling and pick and choose when I'm throttling. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I really don't I really like the bike. You know, of course, I haven't had it quite a year, but it's nice. It's nice and heavy. You only feel the heaviness of these bikes when you're going slow and you're maneuvering, you know what I mean? And there might be some twists and turns in the trail. That's when you might feel the heaviness of the bike. But other than that, when you're moving, you don't feel the heaviness of the bike at all. You agree with that?
Yeah.
You don't really feel the heaviness of the bikes.
And no.
They're somewhat heavy, but you don't feel them. Going 20 miles an hour, it's almost just like the old days riding the old 10-speed.
Yeah, I mean, every bike that I've ridden, they all feel different. You know, it's like when you get into a car, right? Every car feels different to you than, you know, the other.
Right.
And the bikes are the same way.
Yes.
You know, some of them may not be as much as others, but this bike here, to me, the Lyric Graffiti is my favorite. Well, I mean, I like everything about it. Like, I like the positioning. I like the style of the bike. I like I like having the gearless hub motor, nice and quiet. I like the regen braking a lot. I got to admit.
In an ideal world, we'd be able to go to the bike mall, you know, and you'd be able to look, and you'd have all the different brands of the popular bikes, and maybe you could check them out. You could get a little bit more expert information, and you'd be able to maybe ride them on the spot. That way you could ride a couple of 2-3 different bikes and find out what's to your liking. Exactly.
That's exactly how I feel.
In addition to buying, what I like about stuff like this is the journey.
Yeah.
You know, the homework, the looking, deciding what bike's for you, and then the anticipation, ordering the bike, waiting on the bike to arrive. All of that is just as fun to me as the ride. Just the whole experience of it is cool. Yeah,
I mean, if you could go into a store and we could try, there was 10 bikes there. I think we could narrow it down pretty quick on one ride for each bike. You could narrow it down to 3 or 4 and then get down to the one you like. Because I think there's nothing better than actually getting on the bike yourself and trying it. Because I think, you know, right now, all we can do is rely on, for myself, what other people think of the bike and what the specs say for the bike. We don't get to hop on all the bikes and try them firsthand, unfortunately.
No.
And I, just like yourself, I just try to give what I think of the bike and how I feel for riding it, but it doesn't necessarily mean somebody else is going to feel the same way.
Exactly, because I didn't experience any other bikes or test ride any other bikes. I ordered this bike before I'd ever ridden an electric bike. So this is, you know, and that's kind of what you run into with electric bikes. You know, it's hard to go somewhere and really look at different bikes and get a chance to sit on them and that.
Yeah, and there's different factors that are going to come into play. Like, I think for yourself, it was the fact that you could get yours repaired, right? There was a repair shop.
That was a big part of it, and just the fact that for whatever reason, the 26x4 just kind of, for whatever reason, I kind of, once I got into looking at that, I wasn't really looking at any other type of bikes. I was looking at this type of fat tire setup and that, so I like it. If I was to do it over again, Mark, I would still stay with the 26.4 because I really like that type of setup in that. I really like Aventon. I don't know if I would, there's bikes out there now that would sway me to go in a different direction, but only 520 miles on this bike. I mean, man, you know.
Do you know now, after riding this for a while, if you did eventually get a second bike, which I know someday you probably will, do you know where you'd go, or you don't know at this point? Like, do you have any idea? A little more power, or I
would be looking, just right now, I would be looking at probably the same type of bike, 26x4. I would probably be looking now, because they got a lot of them out there with dual suspension. So with this, I would have, that would give me dual suspension, and probably would go with a bigger motor and a bigger setup, because for the same price, you could probably get the same performance in the bikes that are coming out now with a bigger motor. If I was doing really serious bike riding where I got rid of my vehicle and that's not, I mean, that's not really far out there. That's not far-fetched. Then I would be looking at probably a dual motor setup, and that still in the 26.4. Probably like that Super Crown Monarch. Now that's a big heavy bike, and then it's got the dual motors in that. So in the 26.4.
Since we got chatting here about the bike, which is awesome, I love the chatting part. Thank you very much for giving us a little more in-depth on your bike and how you feel about e-bikes and all. We're just going to end this video here on that note. So thank you, David, for giving us a little more in-depth on your bike and how you feel about e-bikes. It's nice to hear someone else's perspective on how they feel about their bike or just e-bikes in general. So thank you, David.
Thank you, Mark.
On this video,
man.
And we'll be back, David and I, for future videos, so stay tuned for that. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to be notified as to when the next video comes up here on the channel, just hit that notification bell and you'll be notified. If you want to leave a comment on this video or any other videos, go ahead and leave a comment in the comments section. So once again, thank you for joining me. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
And until next time, take care.